those who are looking at this and going, oh, Lord, she's going to do 2 sermons, I'm dropping the gospel reading and the second message. They're worth reading, but we're not doing it today. So, everybody breathe. That's good. Have you ever been using a tool or playing with a toy and it broke? And maybe it broke because you weren't using it quite right? One of my Barbies had a very unfortunate incident when I was young because I forced her to ride a horse. And Barbies really aren't made to straddle a horse. The result was not good. Her legs were never the same, as you can imagine. Or maybe as you two have done. Anybody else do that? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, mine. Okay. When something like this happens, have you ever had a parent or a grandparent or significant other get mad at you and say something like, don't you appreciate what you've been given? Don't you appreciate your toy or your food processor or your tool? I bought that for you. I worked to get you that, and you just didn't care and got careless, and now look. Ever have something like that happen? Well, that's what God is saying through the prophet Micah in this reading. Only we don't remember anything about King Balak or that Balaam guy, so we might miss the point. So here's a little background. King Balak was king of Moab. He saw what the Israelites had done in defeating his neighbors, the Amorites, and he was scared of what they might do to him and his country. So he hatched a plan. He went to Balaam, who was known to be a prophet. Wasn't known which God he might be a prophet for, but he was a prophet. And King Balak said to Balaam, there's this crowd of folk who have fought and beat my neighbors, and they're making me nervous. I'm worried about my safety and the safety of my country. Would you please curse them so that they can't win, so that I can stay safe? And Balaam said, well, I'm not sure I should do that. I need to think about that. So Balaam prayed, and God answered him and said, no, do not curse that crowd of folk that King Balak told you about, because those are my folk. They're with me. And dutifully, Balaam sent word back to the king, nope, not going to curse those people. King Balak was not used to being told no. So he went back to Balaam and said, look, I'll honor you. I'll give you all kinds of good stuff. Please, just curse these people coming close to my land. And Balaam said, hey, I don't care if you give me a house full of gold and silver. God told me not to. I'm not going to. In today's reading from the prophet Micah, God says to the people of ancient Israel, what is wrong with you? Remember, I'm your God. I'm the God who brought you all out of Egypt, where you had been slaves there. I'm the one who spoke to the prophet Balaam when King Balak tried to get him to curse you all. I'm on your side. I have always been on your side. So why do you treat me so badly? Don't you appreciate me? Don't you appreciate all that I've done for you? I don't want any of your fancy gifts. I don't want a bunch of oil or a burnt offering. What I do want is for you to do what I tell you to do. And that means acting justly, being kind, and walking with me, your God. In this story, God was frustrated with how the people were acting. So God reached back to examples of how God had been good to those people, in the hopes that reminding them of God's goodness and love in the past would help them now to do what is right. Just like a parent might remind you of what they've done for you. And here's what it means to do what is right. It is being fair, being kind, and paying attention to what God says to you and how God leads you. Acting justly and being kind and paying attention to God are not always easy, but they're important things to do. And sometimes looking back at our lives, at our history, helps us to remember why they are important things to do, why we need to do them. Acting justly and being kind are how we show God that we love God, because those are the things that God has told us to do. That's where my sermon first ended. Pretty straightforward, right? Act justly, be kind, walk humbly with God. Sounds easy. I should just get to sit down now. You've all heard it, we've all got it, right? If it were so easy, we would have achieved it long ago. But it is not easy. There are temptations surrounding us, within us, to interpret what act justly means, and to interpret what be kind means in ways that benefit ourselves. Temptations to ignore how our interpretations help us and actually harm others. It's happening in the world around us right now. Act justly, says God. And there are people who interpret that to mean follow the law. There are people who look at immigrants who have come here without papers or approval, and these people say to those immigrants, you should not be here. You have not acted justly. You've come here to the U.S. without following the rules. And the people who believe this then condone some of the harassing and hurtful actions that people like ICE agents have displayed. That's not what act justly means. Act justly does not mean follow the law, although it can mean that. No, to act justly means that whether the law is fair or not, you as a follower of God are called to do the right thing, the equitable thing, the just thing. To act justly is to embrace DEI training, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. That is training that helps us all to understand how some groups of people have been treated differently and less well than other groups. To act justly is to recognize how we who have been treated well and who have allowed others to be treated less well, to recognize how we have done wrong in the past, to learn how we can do better, and to figure out, with those harmed, how we can fix what we've done wrong. That's a path that can lead us to acting justly. The current president and his administration have announced that they will do their best to erase DEI efforts within the government and within our nation. That is not acting justly, even though the president and the administration should represent the law. See how this can get confusing? See how this can get hard? We all are living in hard times right now. It's actually harder to act justly and to be kind. But no matter how hard it is what God asks us to do. You will hear this passage from Micah many times in your life. Every time you hear it or read it, I hope you will stop and ask yourself, just what does it mean right now to act justly? What does kindness look like at this moment? Take a moment to think, and then to act as God desires that we do, no matter who or what tells you otherwise. Let us walk humbly with our God.